There's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. And I think that there has never been a more exciting time to find ourselves with a technology that is as game-changing as AI right now. So I think that right now there is a huge opportunity for young people to adapt. Using AI to complete your homework or something, that's boring, right? Using AI to solve serious problems and find new business opportunities or business models, enormously useful and very, very open right now. So I think there's a great opportunity right now for young people.
Hello everybody, I'm Laura Toschi, I'm a president of Almacube, and this is Empowering Innovators, our podcast, which is dedicated to tell stories about entrepreneurship, about innovation, and about all the actors around innovations, entrepreneurs, investors, policymakers. In this moment, I'm here with, let me tell the formal name, and then I will start calling you Tim, as I usually do. I'm here with Timothy Sean O'Connell, who has a great experience in the field of entrepreneurship and innovation. Actually, now he is the director of the Startup Center of H-Farm. You have a lot of experience in terms of teaching also at the University of Bologna and at the Bologna Business School. He is an entrepreneur, you are an investor. I mean, all the possible roles that you can imagine in terms of entrepreneurship innovations. Tim is here trying to tell something and sharing his experience. So thank you, Tim, for being here. It's really an honor.
Thank you, Laura.
So, in general, the structure of this podcast starts with something more personal. So, personal linked to the innovation field, sure. Entrepreneurship. So, we know that you have a background, you are from the US, you studied there, you studied in Canada, and then you moved to Italy, and now you are living in Gambettola, which is a very small town in Romagna, in Emilia-Romagna, the region where we are now.
Exactly.
So, can you tell something about this long journey and what you learned, something about all these steps?
We have a half hour for this?
Yes, actually 3 minutes,
okay.
Because then I have another question.
Okay. So, I was born and raised in Chicago. I studied in the US until my undergraduate, and then I moved to Canada. And how I ended up in Italy is because I had 6 months before I was going to start my master's and then go on to my PhD work. And I moved to Italy because I thought it would be a great place to be a ski instructor. The funny thing was you can't just move to Italy and become a ski instructor, but I didn't know that. And so I was a ski instructor in the US, but it doesn't just, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
But I did actually become a ski instructor in the end. I was a ski instructor in Valdosta in Cervinia. Beautiful experience, and I met my wife. And so
love is always there.
Obviously. Italy, it's always either food, wine, or love, right? So it's one of it. And so it was my wife and I, we met actually on a train going to Berlin to celebrate the fall of the Berlin Wall. So it was in the, I'll let other people figure out the date, but it was when the Berlin Wall was coming down. So it was.
Okay, so also living in a small town is not a negative aspect for.
So it's interesting. We obviously, my wife had no intention of living in a small town when we met. We were living. She was studying in Venice. She was a student at Ca' Foscari, and then we went to live in Canada, and we were studying in Canada, and then we moved to Chicago, and then we moved back to Italy. We've always lived. We spent most of our time in Veneto, so in the Treviso. That's why H-Farm. I've been Riccardo Donadon and I. We've known each other for more than 30 years, and. But we got drawn back into Romagna because of my relationship with Technogym. I was a good friend of Nerio Alessandri, and Nerio asked me to come in, and I was running marketing for many years in Technogym.
So I'm originally from Ravenna, so I agree on your decision to stay in Romagna.
Romagna is a great place to live. We have 3 kids, and so you can't complain. Unfortunately, our kids are no longer, only one is still in Romagna, one is in the US now, and one is in Veneto, but we still call Romagna home. So.
Okay, and so all the energy that you also have to put in the skiing aspect, it's also possible in the entrepreneurship. I mean, there is some common rules, I think.
No,
I guess.
absolutely. I mean, funny enough, I mean, entrepreneurism for me started out of necessity, and I think that it's something we're seeing more and more today. Back in, like I said, we don't talk about too many dates, so I don't want to date myself, but back in the 90s, the Italian economy was going through a transition. It wasn't really that easy just to come in and join a company, and so I immediately started identifying opportunities that I thought of things that could be done in Italy that weren't being done. And so the first business I opened, I was actually was 25 years old, and I opened up a outdoor clothing store, and we started bringing in companies like Patagonia and North Face into the Italian market. And that's the reason why even today, if you look the Treviso area, most of the outdoor industry has headquarters in that area, including North Face, Patagonia, and many others. It was because we started this business back in the early part of the 90s. And I had an exit very quick because it became very successful, and people they said, we'd like to buy your business.
Very interesting. And just another curiosity, I know that you have a background in political sciences.
Yeah.
So how this type of disciplines can join and can jump in the conversation on entrepreneurship innovation?
So, I mean, to give a ray of hope to all of those studying political science, because I know we have a lot of political science students at Bologna also. The only thing I think that you get out of political science is it teaches you how to think. The rest was pretty much I don't think I had that much help because of that, but it definitely, it teaches you to think, how to address problems, and so, as an entrepreneur, especially in that period of time, people weren't studying entrepreneurship, and a basic business or economic background. I was political science and economics, was helpful, but it was just a matter of having the courage and the curiosity to do new things. I think was important.
I think that entrepreneurship is an interdisciplinary job. So I think that everything could jump in the conversation.
Yeah,
good. Absolutely. So let's go a little bit more deeply into the topic of this podcast.
Yes.
And with you, we'd like to discuss a little bit about this combination of entrepreneurship and artificial intelligence. And if I can, I would like to quote your definition. And you say that this is the twin superpowers of business transformation. So, I mean, not only entrepreneurship, not only AI, but what really matters is the combination among the two, right? So can you tell something a little bit more about this definition?
I mean, we're all seeing, and there's lots of discussion going on about how AI is going to impact business, and we're seeing that, in many, many different fronts. I mean, everyone's starting to cover this, and we're all there's a lot being covered right now on how AI is transforming the world of startups. Those of us who are working in that space, especially working with early stage startups today, AI has become is like a basic backbone of everything you do within that process. The thing that what I'm monitoring and start to understand even in a deeper sense, as deep as I can, the time I have to dedicate it, is the fact that bringing together entrepreneurship and AI and combining them is a massive game changer. But not necessarily not only in the startup industry, but in particular in the corporate industry. We've gone through, let's say, the past 20 years, we've been talking about digital transformation, and, we've been, things like, the arrival of CRM systems and the way companies are changing the way they do business. Today, I think AI and entrepreneurship will have a role in changing the way these businesses actually run. So not digital transformation, but actually business transformation. We're all talking about how AI is going to transform the way we do business. And I think that without an entrepreneurial background and spirit within the people in the business, adapting or applying AI to the classic processes that we have today will have a very limited impact. I don't know if you read the article. There's an article that came out about a month ago from MIT. It was a study that MIT did with companies who are starting to implement large AI projects. the headline was that 95% said the projects were failing.
Okay.
The reality was the projects aren't necessarily, I think the headline's a little bit over exaggerated. They're not failing, it's that they're not generating direct value. And I think that is the key, that entrepreneurship is needed to help find how to use AI to create value in the business.
So also in this case, AI again is a tool, something that allows to improve the value. We know that in entrepreneurship, value is the rule, and so this is important.
Absolutely, and in this situation, having AI is not sufficient. For these managers, you need also the entrepreneurial understanding of curiosity, of understanding what's working, what isn't working, how to look for new models of business, how to use this innovation to change the way the entire processes are working within the company. So I think that the entrepreneurial spirit within the management class, executive class without a doubt, but even within the management class and even further down the line in companies, has to exist. Otherwise, they're going to have AI and they're going to be like, they're going to have a new tool, but they're going to continue to do the things the same as they've always done it. And I think that is where we're going to see the big game changers. That's why we're seeing today with startups, it's already happening. Because an entrepreneur and a startup has to do it.
This is important because at the beginning you was mentioning that for corporation is a different story in respect to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship starts from zero, while entrepreneurship could be also available within big corporations. So do you think that it is more valuable or more difficult to implement this combination within big corporations, or both?
Both. Yeah. So I think it's both. I think it's more valuable. So if I was the CEO of a large automotive company, consumer goods company, whatever industry you're in, service company, right now I would be looking at two things with two different lenses. One, how I'm going to start implementing AI. What is my strategic direction in that? And on the other side, how am I going to upskill people to be more entrepreneurial within the skills the groups have? Because if you don't upskill them to be more entrepreneurial, most likely there'll be casualties of the process. Because everyone's already talking about. There was announcements even just last week, or actually this week. Some very big groups we know, like Nestle, they said they're laying off 12,000 people in the next few years. These are casualties in a certain sense. Whereas I think that if the companies would start training, not necessarily the 12,000, but maybe the managers of all of these 12,000, how to use AI to generate new value, probably we wouldn't have to even eliminate these jobs, because we would be creating new value where we needed more people anyhow. Yeah. And that's happening in a lot of fields. There's a great article I read a few weeks ago. I don't remember the name right now, but they were talking about how, I actually know, it was Y Combinator. Y Combinator has a wonderful podcast. They were talking about how AI, originally just 10 years ago, they were saying how it was going to eliminate all the jobs of radiologists. That you wouldn't need people to read radiology exams anymore because AI could do it for you. And in reality, what's happened is they've hired more radiologists. We have more radiologists today because radiologists can do things that they couldn't do 10 years ago.
Okay, so it is really crucial, these aspects, because I'm interested in understanding, there is always this thing about AI substituting completely human perception, but we know that in entrepreneurship it's also important to create an empathy with the customer. So where AI could not be used because the human perspective is still the most important.
Yeah, I think that's, in one sense, I could try to guess, but I think that a lot of these things we're just going to see as this evolves, because we're in the middle of a revolution, and I don't think any of us really know how this revolution is going to unfold. I think that we on the one side, all of the doomsday let's say, everyone talking about the end of the world, it's going to take over, it's going to take over. I don't think that's going to happen. But on the other side, I think a lot of us are underestimating how much the world will change in the next few years. So, funny enough, I think we'll find paradoxes where, so for example, AI and robotics will be a great way to create empathy in certain cases where we just don't have enough humans to do it. And we're already, there's already tests. If you look at some of the tests coming out of places like Japan, where elderly people, they want to have human contacts, but there's just not enough people in Japan to be able to do that all day long. So what they're doing is they're having people at some points of the day, but then they're also using robots at other parts of the day. So there's an actual role to play there. We have to be careful there. I mean, we absolutely do not want to, take away the human element of many different relationships, but we can also augment these, I think, with, using people and AI and robotics in a certain way. I think people are super, super important in the process because we are people, right? We need to have relationships. The teaching part. I mean, we all know, you and I know, if we just stick a video up in the classroom and we tell everyone in the class, listen, I had this lecture I registered 2 years ago. It was done so well. It's never going to get better, so I'm just going to leave. You're just going to watch the video. The class will just start, playing with their phones or leave, because you just miss all of the interaction of why you're doing, let's say, for example, our global MBA, or you're doing, a course. You do it because of the fact that you want human interaction. So I think that will continue.
Be still there.
I think it will continue.
And another curiosity, very, very quickly, because I know that there are a lot of topics, but I'm curious. This morning I was teaching in my class with ICT engineering area. And obviously the class is basically composed by men. So if I think about entrepreneurship, do you think that there is a challenge for female entrepreneurs from this combination of entrepreneurship plus AI, or not? Or can you do something?
So it's two different issues. I mean, two questions. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, actually.
There's still definitely a challenge in entrepreneurship with women. I think that we're not anywhere near where we should be. All of the statistics show us that successful companies that have women co-founders in the teams have a much higher chance of success. But we still, in H-Farm, we still get way too many, all-male founding teams. So I think that we need to continue to do more and more to encourage women entrepreneurship. I always tell my classes, I told one of my classes last week, if you're in an industry that you can prove to me that it's only for male target audience, so if your audience is 100% men, I think you have a pass for why you might come with an all-founding team. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Certain industries, I look at health and wellness, and you see all these all-male teams. I mean, health and wellness, the industry is 60% female, the customer base. So why would you have all women or all men teams? So I think that there's a huge opportunity. AI is a great enabler for entrepreneurship. It gives you so many superpowers within the entrepreneur itself. I think we really need to make an effort to train faster and maybe give a competitive advantage to women today.
That makes sense.
Because there are so many. I'm actually surprised, even with students who are young. They're obviously they're testing and they're trying AI, but they're still using it in a very rudimental way. And I think that with even just basic courses to give them additional tools, I think it's an amazing idea. Okay, so this is also a good news for understanding how to try to balance everything. So let's try to go to the conclusions. Sure. And as you may we like to conclude this podcast with the good news. And this means, can you suggest us something related to entrepreneurship and AI that you can see as a positive trend, or something that could help people saying it's good, AI is not a threat, but there could be something valuable? Absolutely, without a doubt. I think there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur. And I think that there has never been a more exciting time to find ourselves with a technology that is as game-changing as AI right now. So I think that right now there is a huge opportunity for young people to adapt. Using AI to complete your homework or something, that's boring, right? Using AI to solve serious problems and find new business opportunities or business models, enormously useful and very, very open right now. So I think there's a great opportunity right now for young people. Okay, thank you so much, Tim. It has been a pleasure to be here and learning something more about AI. So I'm sure that you are now happy to know that AI is obviously something that can create value, and it is an opportunity. So this was the topic for this podcast.
understanding the combination of entrepreneurship and artificial intelligence. But if you want to know something more about other topics on innovation and entrepreneurship, please do not lose the other episodes of our podcast that you can find on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you, Tim, again.
Thanks, Laura.